Okay, so this is gonna be a walkthrough for navigating the controls, how to get into the editing part of the shuttle oven, and just give you some level of comfort on really taking full ownership on doing anything and everything you want to do with the oven. So to access, where do I edit the recipes? How do I set the belt speeds? You need to get into the editing part of the controls, and that is accessed through a hidden button, and you simply press up in the top left of the opposite screen. And I'm doing this on a oven that hasn't been preheated yet. But it works the same whether it's heated or not. And the passcode is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter. And these 6 options will pop up for you. And the ones if you've worked with me, you see me mostly fidgeting around with is the recipe icon. But let's just kind of walk through these. If I want to go back, I go back. I need to access into it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm back in. Temps. These are the temps, are the set temps for the cavity. And you can see them mirrored over here on this other side. So, but if I want to change whatever my operating temp's going to be at for most of my recipes, I simply select that, and it's going to ask name or temp. I want to change the temperature of that. Change it from 480 to 475. Press enter. If I hit it again, I can change the name of that by pressing name. And clear that. And we'll call it Redco. And then I simply exit and save, and that'll save all that information. And now you see it changed over here on my set screen. We'll get the recipes last, because that's one of the things we're going to focus on longest. Maintenance. Sound. The tone's actually low on all this. I'm going to go high, high. I'll go medium. Tone low, medium, high. And if you want to get out of this, see this toggle bar? Simply press up, and that basically takes you back to the previous screen. Clock, shouldn't have to mess around with that. I'm going to go back out of that. Configuration. On the shuttle, one of the unique things is I can either load from the right or the left. And simply to change the direction of which way the belt's going to feed, I press default side, and now it's on the right. So this is where I would load all the food on the right. We've been kind of running everything we do here in our kitchen left to right, so I'm going to set it back to left. Temperature mode, Fahrenheit, Celsius. Passcode, I just recommend you keep it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back out of that. Diagnostics, wouldn't worry about that. That's more for service, people doing service calls on your oven if need be. So let's back out of that. And we covered temps, we covered maintenance, USB. If you have 2 ovens, the USB is really super simple. The USB port down here on the side, I stick a USB stick in, and I simply press read the recipes, and it's going to pull all that information off. And then if I have another oven, and I highly recommend you do this just in case it ever needs service, if this board goes out, you have all your programs, and then you would load, stick all your saved information back in. Maybe it's another oven that you're trying to get paired up with. Load everything onto the other oven. And so it's basically an upload, offload, USB options. Firmware, stuff like that. That's more for service as well. Let's get out of that. How do we cook food and create recipes? Let's go into the recipes. 4 options here. First is conveyor presets, and I press conveyor presets, and this is what shows up once you have selected conveyor mode from the shuttle oven. And you have 4 options, and the 4 options here are pizza, bites, subs, and clean. And to change all of this, you want to modify it, press into that square, and I can change the name. And simply, there's that screen. Cancel out of that. Do I want to adjust the blower speed? Maybe I want to take it down to 60 on the top, and the bottom for 80. Adjust temperature. And once I've modified all that, save and exit. And I can do that for all 4 of these screens. And that's how you adjust the conveyor settings. So press back. Now, a couple options is I want to edit an existing, I got 2 things I can do. I can create a new recipe, press new, and I have to go find an empty square. And I simply press into that empty square, and it's asking me, do I want to make a new recipe or a new category? And what you'll find is, and I'll point these out a little bit as I go along, any of these squares with an asterisk next to it is actually a category, and then there's recipes within that categories. But I'm just creating a recipe. We'll call it Toby. And spelling in public is horrible on video. All right, enter. Top blower speed, bottom blower speed. And I'm going to have another video that we will cook food, and we'll talk through what does it mean, what are the blower speeds, what are they doing to the food, how long should I set the time, what should the temperature be. And once you kind of get comfortable navigating this screen, then you're able to start looking at your food and going, what do I need to adjust? And so within this, just starting off, a good place to start for anyone, 50% blower speed on top, 50% blower speed on bottom. Then I need to set a cook time. And these are shuttle recipes, mind you. So this is where it's gonna pull the food in immediately and do its cooking cycle. Gonna go 3 minutes. And cook temp, you want to create a cook temp in and around one of the preset temperatures that you're going to preheat the oven up to. Another thing about this oven is your recipe, it can be 25 degrees plus or minus the set temperature that you're operating in. So in this recipe, if I make it at 485 and my oven is running at 475, it's going to work. It's going to heat up to 485 for that cook cycle. If I make it 505 degrees, you're going to see that this oven is too cold and you won't even be able to run this program. It'll be in red. That's outside the range of the temperature zone. So I can go up to 500 or down to 450. On my recipes, I'm operating at a 475 degree set temperature. I hope that makes sense. So the long and short is, don't feel like you have to be locked into the set temperature. You're able to play around with stuff to get the exact results. We'll go dive into this a little bit more when we cook food. The other thing you're able to do is, if you look here, this Toby recipe, and that little 1 #3, that means this is the first step of 3. And you're able to build cooking recipes that actually have 3 steps in them if you wish. You don't really have to all the time. But simply to activate another step, you press down. You see that number change. Now that's 2 of 3. And so the second step might be, the blower speeds are still the same, is I might want to go more blower speed. I might want to make it crispier on the second step. I might want to raise the temperature from 480 to 480. Sorry, if you want to go back on your numbers, there's that arrow. 490, from 485 to 490. And I want to do that second step for the last 15 seconds. And so if I want to add a third step, I go down as well. And you can see cook duration and temp is down to 0. And step 3 of 3. So I press up. And you can see there's my first step, 3 minutes, 50 seconds, 3 minutes, blower speed, top and bottom 50, 485. Second step is another 15 seconds, raise the temp to 490, blower speed top bumped up, blower speed on bottom bumped up to 80. And so theoretically, I've got some food, I'm testing it, I can save all this information, I'm gonna exit, options, and if I want to continue editing, I can go back into it. Now this is where if you go back up, see how you're at 3, that's 0, and you can't get back out of this? You got to use the exit options. I always press exit and save. I save everything and then I just rewrite it. If you just press exit, it might not save it. Another key feature out of this is the test cook. You can only run the test cook from the screen that the oven is orientated to run through. So if this is set up to feed right to left and I'm working off of this screen, I can run the test cook. If I'm working off of this screen and it's operated left to right, I can run the test cook. And we'll get to that in another video when I'm actually cooking food and have this oven running, because it's a little bit loud and I don't want to talk over this doing these finer points of editing these menus. So I'm gonna exit and save. Now all that's gonna populate into my shuttle recipes once that whole thing gets loaded up. So that's making a new program. If I want to edit one, I simply press edit and let's go to cheese sticks, and any of this information I can just edit. I go, maybe it didn't get as done on top as I want it to. I want to take that top blower speed from 30 to 45%. Enter. Maybe it needs to go from 2 minutes 30 seconds to 2 minutes 25. And I'm going to see, is there another step to this? No, there isn't. I'm going to exit that and exit and save all that. So I just adjusted the cheese stick, edited it, and it should be good to go on my shuttle platform. Delete. Now, you can just simply select any one of these guys. Who's one I want to delete? I don't really make cookies that much. We'll delete cookies. Do I want to delete this entry? Yes. Here is something new that if you've created a category, how do I delete a recipe inside the category? Because if I press delete and I go down, and there's my break bush, category, and I probably got 8 recipes in that Breakbush category. I do not want to press Breakbush right now because it'll ask me if I want to delete the whole, and once you delete it, you're deleting every recipe within that category. So also my Palermos, I don't want to delete any of these categories. So delete is for only the recipes you see without the asterisk. Now, all that being said, I'm gonna go back out of this. If I want to delete a recipe in a category, I go to edit. See, my cookies are gone. And I go back down and I find a category. And I'm gonna go back into Breakbush. And I want to edit a recipe in the category. And now I find my Breakbush recipes. I don't even know what cheese is, but I take cheese and I click in the name and I clear out of that. And I write delete. Enter. I'm going to exit options, save and exit. And that will delete that cheese program I had in the Breakbush under the category. So let's just verify that so you guys can see that. Breakbush, recipe, see, now the cheese is gone. So just, again, how do I delete certain recipes? It becomes you have to use that delete command within the name orientation if you want to delete a specific recipe in a subcategory. And that's why I made this video, because these are the types of things that people like, well, I've accidentally deleted categories before, and it was not fun getting all that stuff reloaded back up. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Conveyor sets, presets. You know how to set them. We know how to make new recipes. We know how to edit the existing ones. And I know how to delete them. Press back up. Get out of this. I'm going to get back out of that. And now the oven's back to where I can do some cooking. So with that, without further ado, we are going to fire up some ovens and cook some foods.